और इतनी देर में ही एक टर्बन वाला आदमी आता है कहीं से, बिना किसी कुछ बोले सीधा वो एक लंबा सा फ्लैग में जो रोड होती है उससे मारता है। तो पुलिस वाले 3 या 4 उसको दबोचने चले जाते हैं। इतनी देर में हर डायरेक्शन से ये खालिस्तानी फ्लैग ले लेके ये जितने भी थे
इंडियंस जो स्टूडेंट्स प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे थे, उन्होंने पुलिस को बताया था कि वो लोग प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे?
हाँ जी, सुबह भी पुलिस को बताया गया था और बहुत से लोगों ने पुलिस को पिछले हफ्ते 10 दिन से फोन कर रहे थे, बल्कि 1 महीने से फोन कर रहे थे कि फेडरेशन स्क्वायर पे ये चीजें मत होने दो और वहां पे वायलेंस होगी और सिक्योरिटी का इंतजाम करो। ऐसा ना हो कि कोई वैसे इंडियन वहां पे जाए। और एक चीज और थी कि सुबह 10 बजे के अराउंड जब वो बच्चे गए थे तो वहां पे कुछ लोग वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग करने के लिए गए हुए थे फेडरेशन स्क्वायर पे। और वो तो बल्कि बाहर ही कर रहे थे, जहाँ इनकी वोटिंग हो रही थी वहां कर भी नहीं रहे थे। तो उसका कैमरा छीना इन्होंने, उस कैमरे को उसके तोड़ा और उन लोगों के साथ मारपीट की। बोला कि तुम हिंदू हो, तुम यहाँ से चले जाओ। पब्लिक प्लेस पे इन्होंने इतनी गुंडागर्दी की, तलवारें लहरा रहे थे, पुलिस कुछ नहीं कर रही।
आप लोगों ने FIR कराया पुलिस में? आप लोगों ने केस दर्ज कराया पुलिस में?
हाँ जी, जिनको चोट आई है उन्होंने किया। और 3 बंदे इमरजेंसी में थे रात को और देर रात तक वो आए हैं। और कम से कम 15 से 20 बंदों को बहुत ही सीवियर चोट आई है, बहुत ही गहरी चोट आई है।
We want to know what exactly happened from the eyewitness. So, if you can elaborate what exactly happened in Melbourne.
Yeah, I wasn't there personally, but I've spoken to each of the persons who were assaulted. What had happened was that a group of Indians were walking towards Federation Square with Indian flags. Police approached them and asked them to walk in a certain direction towards their right.
Okay.
They complied with the police orders and they were walking up the road. Suddenly, out of nowhere, about 30 or 40 Khalistanis attacked them from all sides. The Khalistanis were holding poles. They had Khalistani flags and they had custom-built metal poles.
Okay.
There were some nihangs there with their wooden sticks. There was at least one nihang there with a sword. And they started attacking these Indians from behind, unprovoked. They were shouting, swearing abuse. There were just a handful of police there who couldn't do much. At least three of the Indians were taken to hospital. 3 of them had head injuries. Others were also injured. So that's the gist of what happened. There were two episodes at that event. In the morning, there were a number of Indian youths standing there just silently with Indian flags. They were set upon, people with swords, and the police asked the Indian youths to move away. When that had finished, when the second group came, the same kind of conduct.
So eyewitnesses there speaking to us here in CNN News 18, revealing the horror of what really happened on ground. The larger question, one that is also asking today, is that why is there a pattern that is now emerging in Australia, in Melbourne? On one hand, you have Hindu temples that are being vandalized, and on the other hand, you have events like these unfold. So there is a stark difference in what is happening. As I pointed out, on one hand, you have Indians that are being tagged with sticks and stones, and on the other hand, there is a farce of a referendum because there are warning signs that were in place. So the larger question is, why were they ignored? Because you had images of those executed for Indira Gandhi's murder put out on posters like these. More importantly, that referendum call under which all of these events are now unfolding, that referendum call was also asking to avenge the execution of these quote-unquote killers. So that's why many today asking what has led to the lack of security cover, and more importantly, what has led to these signs being ignored. But as we've been pointing out, that these incidents weren't isolated. Look at the next grab and the poster that we're putting out. You had a car rally calling for Khalistan referendum. This, of course, is a farce of referendum, as we've been pointing out. And under the garb of this referendum, you're seeing events like these unfold. So first you have temples being vandalized and then you have Indians being attacked. But even as far as the vandalism in the temples are concerned, these are also not isolated incidents. This is the second temple that was vandalized after that car rally, and that is why there is a larger pattern that is now emerging as well. And not just this, you also have posters, the likes of Bhinderwale and others, calling for a separate state as part of this referendum is concerned. And that is why now you have many letters being written for the stopping of events around this referendum. More importantly, threats that were made by many Khalistan sympathizers on social media as well. And all of those warning signs, in fact, have been ignored today, which has resulted in the events that have unfolded. What is leading to this pattern in Australia? Let me also now bring in our guest to try and understand of what really is happening. We have Jitar Jai Bhardwaj, founder and editor-in-chief at the Australia Today. We also have Rabindranath Sajdev, international affairs expert, now joining us on the broadcast. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on CNN News 18. Jitar, I'd like to begin the conversation with you. As I said, not an isolated incident, but a pattern that is now emerging. Vandalism in Hindu temples and now events like these. What really is happening on the ground?
See, Ridhima, it all started a couple of months back when the Sikh for Justice representatives from USA, Canada and UK started visiting here, the local gurdwaras, and they have significant sympathizers they have identified. So they started giving them some sort of support in terms of money and other resources, and they started telling them to distribute their leaflets and all that. Initial period, first month, they didn't get much of the response. So that's the point in time they started making these car rallies or aggressive moves on Indian Australians. There is two gurdwaras which are notorious for this kind of behavior in Melbourne. They don't let other people drive through that road. I mean, their aggressive behavior was seen. They see Indian flag, they attack those cars. If there is a sticker where it's written Bharat or India, I love India or something, they vandalize that car. So those smaller snippets we could see here, there in Victoria, and they were also reported. Authorities just thought it's like tensions between two end of political spectrum. However, it was not. The geopolitics, the backgrounder of it, we were warning the authorities. Still, they couldn't understand what has happened in Canada 30 years back. It resulted in Kanishka plane bombed, and these authorities said, no, that was too far away. 30 years back, things might have changed. This is just democratic right of expressing themselves with a different opinion. That's where Australian authorities were standing just before yesterday. And then when they were not getting traction, they started targeting random people on roads. When it didn't work out, their car rally was a failure. Hardly 150 cars were there out of 65,000 strong Sikh community here in Melbourne. So they became much more desperate to show their strength. And that's where these attacks on a temple, Hindu hate.
There is no denying the fact, and I agree with the choice of words that you're using, that this is now a desperate attempt to try and get some attention. But this is where it gets problematic, as even you're pointing out, and this is what even many eyewitnesses are saying, that multiple letters were written to authorities. These warning signs were already there. These open calls that were being made on social media as well. Despite all of this, despite that knowledge being there was no action that was taken. And Rubinder, that is where it becomes problematic, because this is what even eyewitnesses and many Indians on the ground today are saying, that first you have a pattern of vandalism in Hindu temples where hate-filled graffiti is seen on the walls, and now you have these Indians who have a tricolor with them now being attacked with sticks and stones. So there clearly, is there a intentional shielding that is happening on the ground, or is there a lack of understanding of how severe the situation is?
I would say that more it's the latter. It's a lack of understanding or lack of appreciation of the gravity or severity of the situation. It cannot be intentional. That's what I would assume, generally speaking, right? A couple of things one would say. See, okay, fair enough. So there was, lapse. They didn't realize it could be so serious. One, so it's a law and order issue, which could have been prevented. And even when it was happening, more could have been done to prevent more of the violence there. Now, the point is, to look at this, I think you need to look at 2 or 3 different tracks. This is what's happening right now on the ground, be it in Australia, be it US, UK, Canada, etc. Now, the local agencies, they should be doing a much better job of intelligence gathering of troublemakers. That's one, right? Secondly, 6 for Justice and the referendum and all, it cannot be stopped. There are freedoms of expression, freedoms of association. You can say whatever you want. So they're doing whatever. None of these countries' laws does not allow anything like this, right? Or kind of bans stuff like this. The point is, we have to look at a medium term and a longer term strategy also. Each time, we cannot be looking at a knee-jerk reaction. Okay, fine, fair enough, this happened. So let's say the culprit should be hauled up or action taken against them, whatever the police can do and all. But then something else will come up in another month, be it Australia, be it Canada, be it UK, be it US, New Zealand, wherever. So the medium term to long term, I think what we need to do, the Indian government, the people of India, we need to have a greater outreach amongst the Sikh communities in these countries. The reason being, the younger generations, the next generation of the Sikhs, and by the way, Sikhs are Indian. So, by the way, this should not be seen as a Hindu versus Sikh.
But Rupinder, this is problematic, right? Nobody is denying that there should be no outreach or there should not be a better understanding. But why should Indians be at the receiving end of vandalism and an attack when it is unprovoked? That's the larger question. What is the referendum trying to achieve? What is the end goal as far as this referendum is concerned? Why should it not be stopped?
No, the end goal of the referendum is what they say. They want to do a public opinion poll as to whether there should be a separate Khalistan. Okay, aside. Now, the point I'm trying to make, I completely understand. Yes, they should be held accountable. But what I'm saying, in order for us to counter it by outreach, let me just complete this point. The next generation of Sikhs is not often coming back to India. They do not know much about India. They're getting swayed by the propaganda, etc. Now, as the years will progress by, we will face more and more of these kind of incidents or divides, or rather, let's put it this way, support for the Khalistan movement will grow. We need to nip that. So there could be some short-term measures. Yes, absolutely agreed. There have to be medium to long-term measures also. And part of that lies in getting more and more younger generation to come to India under some exchange programs, etc., whatever. It also means more outreach by I would not put everything to our embassy or high commission, but even within the diaspora also, there has to be more engagements. The more we divide, the more we create us versus them.
No, but who is dividing? That's also the question. I'm running out of time. Jitarth, I'll give you the final word. Now, we've already seen reactions that have come in from the Australian envoy and others who've gone on to condemn these incidents, saying that this is not what Australia represents. But despite that, these incidents continue. Is it the lack of reassurance and severity in action which is resulting in episodes like these?
Absolutely. Australian authorities have failed to understand what can happen, and what happened yesterday in Federation Square was just a little glimpse of it. They don't know what is coming if they let Sikh for Justice goons to run amok the way they are right now. And I would say that there is a lack of political will on the side of Victorian and Australian government. Otherwise, this could not have happened. What has happened yesterday.
Right. Jitarth, I apologize for interrupting. Unfortunately, I will have to leave that conversation there. We appreciate you joining us here on CNN News 18. We're shifting our focus to some breaking developments coming up. Some big news now coming in, where we're understanding death penalty in Section 121 and life imprisonment as part of 307 of the IPC has been announced to Ahmed Murtaza Abbasi. This is in relation of the Gorakhnath temple incident. All of this has happened in record 60 days of continuous hearing. Let me bring in my colleague Pranshu, in fact, has been tracking these developments for us. Pranshu, give us the details.
Yes, that's right. The NIA court, the special NIA court here in Uttar Pradesh, has awarded the death penalty to Ahmed Murtaza on the grounds of waging the war against the nation, against the state. And now, if you remember, it was a very surprise attack, it was seen as a lone wolf attack sort of case. When on April 3rd last year, Ahmed Murtaza, armed with a lethal weapon, a sharp-edged weapon, has first attacked the security men or the police personnel posted outside the security. Now, the entire charge sheet says that Ahmed Murtaza initially has claimed that he had some psychological issues, mental trauma, because of which he was undergoing treatment. But in the court, during the course of trial, his defense was not able to convince the court, was not able to give adequate proof of him being in any sort of under medication or under psychological mental stress, and that's the reason why his entire conduct was observed and as treated by the court as a clear act of a terror act, a clear case of a lone wolf sort of terror attack with an intent to disturb social peace, disrupt the social fabric, and trying and throw the state in a state of war, in a state of chaos. And that's the reason why the special NIA court has now awarded him death penalty. We haven't heard from his counsel so far, but it's very obvious that that this is a judgment which has come in from the trial court, the special NIA court, and most likely it would be challenged in the higher court itself. But for the moment, yes, in a record time, the incident happened last year on April 3rd, and now on 30th January, the punishment in this case has been awarded.
Right. Pranchu, what is also important to note here, and this is what you were pointing out as well, when the initial details of this case had started to come out, many had said that possibly this was a case of a man who was mentally unstable. But more details as they emerged, it looked like a lone wolf attack. What we're also now understanding is when the interrogation happened with Murtaza Abbasi, there are some links with the ISIS that have emerged as well.
Well, see, at that point in time, we have to remember that certain disclosures were made, and it was said, in fact, ATS and NIA, which were probing this case, ATS, of course, had said that it is a lone wolf sort of attack, and the laptop which was recovered from him, remember, Murtaza comes in, has a very strong technical engineering background. He's highly qualified, and the laptop and the electronic gadgets which were discovered from his possession, they clearly had a sizable amount of objectionable literature related to ISIS, literature related to preparing the terror module, preparing explosives. So all these were put in tabled as evidence before the court, and on the basis of it, the court reached this conclusion. The charges of him trying to wage the war against the nation could be established, proven by the prosecution in this case. The argument which was given by him and also his family was that he was under treatment for psychological disorders, for mental trauma, for mental disorders, but all those claims by the family, by the defense, could not be proven in the court, and that's the reason why he got no relief. He was seen and he was termed by the ATS as a lone wolf terrorist, and that argument was successfully collaborated with evidences in the court, and that's the reason why the death penalty has now been awarded to him.
Right. So we understand, of course, he's been charged under UAPA, but you were pointing out to another important aspect as far as this case is concerned, which is that all of this has happened in record 60 days. Is that correct?
Well, yes, there was first a period of 90 days in which the court has to, the investigating agencies had to file the charge sheet in this case, and subsequent to that, this trial took place. So what we can say is that without going into the exact specifics and the number of days, the incident happened in April and today is January. So almost in 9 months from the time of this attack taking place, the verdict in this case has been pronounced. So that clearly shows that the investigation was fast-paced in this case, and subsequently the trial too was fast-paced as far as this very sensitive matter was concerned.
Right. Pranchu, I'll just request you to stay on with us because we also have the former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, Arvind Jain, also now joining us on the broadcast. So good to have you on the broadcast with us. Your first reaction to the word coming in, which is death penalty that has been awarded to Ahmed Murtaza Abbasi, and this is as far as the Gorakhnath temple case is concerned.
It's a very welcome judgment. Entire police force will be very happy. But in Purvanchal, Gorakhnath temple has a lot of importance, and we are lucky that nothing happened because it was a premeditated attack and it was a lone wolf attack. He wanted to snatch the rifle of a policeman so that he can kill people over there. It would have been a very, very serious incident. having a lot of repercussions. So court has done the right thing. A very severe punishment has been given. It will be a lesson to such other people also who want to carry out such lone wolf attacks in future, because there are several such people in the society. So it will be a lesson to them and morale booster for police, for ATS and IA.
Right. Sir, also as you rightly pointed out that this will also possibly become an example for others as well, because what is also crucial to note here is that all of this has happened in record time. This was a case that was fast-tracked, and thus we are seeing the verdict being awarded as well. Do you think that is exactly the kind of expedition that is required in cases that have severity and sensitivity like this?
Yes, it should be. It should be pronounced as early as possible. The court has done the right thing by taking it up because memory is fresh. Police people, the local temple people, they all gave evidence because it was fresh in memory. They gave the detailed account in the court. It was recorded in record time, and verdict was given. Such cases when they hang on for years and years, and after that the policemen who get transferred to other districts, they are called. At times they don't turn up. So delay in recording evidence always leads to destruction of evidence.
Correct. Right. So we leave the conversation there. Appreciate you taking out the time and joining us here on CNN News 18. I'd like to thank my colleague Pranshu as well. Time for us to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with lots more.
Big, I don't want to use the word conspiracy, but there is an attempt to create yet another student movement against the Modi Sarkar, against BJP, and they're the same actors. In fact, I might tell you that at the beginning of this year, I got a telephone call from somebody, I can't mention my source here, but from abroad, and they said, you know, Makran, just watch as the year progresses, one after one after one, there's going to be bombshells. Things are going to be put out there to discredit this government and discredit India as well. So if I were an investigative journalist, which I'm not, I'm an academic, I'm an intellectual, I would like to delve into this whole chain of events, this whole thread, you know, what is it that is going around and who's funding it, who's behind it? And again, I must say that I want to tell my student friends that what is screened and not screened in a university campus depends on the university administration. The JNU administration put out an advisory. At your own peril, you will defy the administration because they can take action against you. So it's not worth it. In fact, I don't tell any student not to see anything. If you want to see the film, see it in your own room. It's not banned as far as I know. If you want to see it on your phone or whatever laptop, go and see it. Make up your own mind. But to join this kind of insidious seeming protest, it's not even a protest, is to jeopardize their future, I believe, and their career. And they should not be, I think, seduced by the appeal of such propaganda in the first place.
So, Sanjay Jha, you know, we've seen this in 2015 when the JNU protests happened. We've seen this again in 2020 when the anti-CAA protests essentially started from these campuses and then spread to Shaheen Bagh. Every time this has happened, it has helped Mr. Modi and rally his base. It has riled up his base. A lot of his supporters feel that this is some kind of vested propaganda. This is some kind of a conspiracy. There are people out there who are trying to get him, and it has helped him electorally. You look at the election victories in those years, it has always overwhelmingly been in favor of the BJP. Do you reckon that the fact that this story, and this is what I find curious again, there's so much of a storm in some of these campuses where left-back unions are very active, whereas the rest of the country doesn't seem to particularly care about this documentary. And every time this has happened, it's only helped polarize in a way that it helps the BJP electorally.
Zakir, I want to make 2 points here. Number one, I disagree with the previous speaker. I think universities and colleges worldwide are actually, they stand for an ideological diversity. Some of them may be more liberal, some of them may be, very woke. Others may even be conservative. It all depends. I mean, there are a lot of people who believe that certain, colleges and institutions are usually, most of the time, more freedom loving, more revolutionary in their thinking. And that is the way it has been through history. Some of the biggest protests in the world against repressive governments have started in universities. The second point is very, very important that you raised about the fact that Mr. Modi benefits electorally from, every time the Gujarat 2002 riots are talked about, where the very Supreme Court, the BJP courts very often refer to Mr. Modi and his Gujarat government as Emperor Nero, which I believe is a severe indictment of their, political performance at that point of time. But let me give you an example here. I have been a Congress supporter. I continue to be one. 1984 Sikh riots, in my opinion, were heinous. They were horrific. And it was, in my opinion, something that all of us as Indians should hold our heads down in shame.
Yeah.
You know what? The Congress won general elections thereafter. Not just after in 1984, the Congress won again and again. And I can tell you the Congress formed a government in Punjab thereafter. Dr. Manmohan Singh became the Prime Minister. Yet, if today the BJP or any TV anchor or anybody for that matter were to be critical of what happened in 1984 Sikh riots, absolutely justified. Mr. Modi can win 10 elections for all I care. But the truth of life, Zaka, is that what happened in Gujarat was a genocide. It was a state-sponsored pogrom. Supreme Court called Nero. What did the Supreme Court mean? And you can have one Supreme Court verdict on the conspiracy case saying that there's no case against him, but that does not mean that innocent people did not die. It did not mean that Babu Bajrangi and Maya Kodnani were not convicted of brutal murders under the watch of the chief minister.
Once again, there are two parts to this. Is your case, and when I say you, I don't mean you individually, Sanjay Jha, but the case against the then Gujarat chief minister, is it that he looked the other way while the riots were happening, or was there a conspiracy? Because clearly the conspiracy part has been thrown out by the Supreme Court, right? That is the Supreme Court verdict as it stands as of last year. I don't want to go into the elaborate details of it. But I don't think what Mr. Modi was accused of for the last 20 years was just merely failing law and order, or, to put it even more crudely, incompetence at the time that the riots happened. What he was accused of by everyone, including the Congress party, was connivance in the riots. And that, I think, the 2022 Supreme Court verdict completely throws out the window. But let me go to Abhijit Majumdar, and he wrote this, I think, for News18.com as well as for First Post, that he believes that if the government wanted to, and many have been arguing this as well, including the likes of a former Ministry External Affairs Secretary, Mr. Kaju, that the government should have just ignored this. This is a G20 year. You expect these kind of attacks. You don't have to swat a fly every time a fly comes past you. But you believe, Abhijit, that the government is doing this because it suits them politically, and every time, as I outlined in 2015 and 2020, numerous instances where such potentially polarizing issues came up, and it ultimately helped the BJP and helped Mr. Modi electorally. So you believe that this is being actively kept because the government also somewhere politically benefits. The only thing that's sort of jarring for me is this is a G20 year. This is the year when India is supposed to, it's like a coming out party. India showing confidence, India showing power, it's projecting power. Doesn't this entire episode betray nervousness?
This was like a Fulta Zaka bolt to the BJP and the Modi government. Maybe unintentionally by the BBC. I think we are giving too much, reading too much into the fact that BBC may be targeting Modi. They may actually being, after Rishi Sunak in a way, because he is Hindu. There's been a fair bit of unease in the UK, but that's another matter. The thing is that this actually obviously helps the BJP every time Gujarat riots comes up, because we have seen that in the 12 years after the 12 years after the riots, UPA ruled. They tried, they went relentlessly after Mr. Modi. They failed to indict him. It was a war fought through innuendo, conspiracy theories, everything but facts, which proves that Mr. Modi is guilty. The Supreme Court has given its verdict. There is no way that they can win. And also, what happened, the whole, the case after 2002, it constantly told the mass Hindu psyche that one man is being targeted relentlessly because
उन सबका जवाब दे सकें। एंड सबसे अहम बात यह है, जो सबसे ज़्यादा अहम बात है वो ये है कि जितने भी लोग इस फिल्म को इतना प्यार दे रहे हैं, इतना सराहा रहे हैं, जिनमें से आई एम श्योर ऑल ऑफ यू आर देयर, बट देयर लॉट्स ऑफ देम हु आर नॉट हियर, आज इस महफिल के ज़रिए मैं सिर्फ ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ दीपिका, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ जॉन, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ सिड, on behalf of Adi, Dimple ji, Ashutosh, all of them, I want to say a big thank you for the love that you all have given the film Pathaan. So बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। दूसरी बात, हम लोग जो हैं इसलिए नहीं, और जो 11 लोग ज़्यादा बात कर रहे हैं प्लीज़ चुप हो जाएं। अच्छा, जो 22 लोग ज़्यादा बात कर रहे हैं वो चुप हो जाएं। जो 33 लोग बात कर रहे हैं, ये कुछ कलेक्शन जैसा होने लग गया।
क्या बात क्या बात।
बट आई जस्ट वांट टू से दैट हम तीनों इसलिए नहीं, कोई चॉइस से या किसी वजह से या किसी मकसद से, वी हैव नॉट मेट अप विद द मीडिया, इट्स नॉट दैट। द फिल्म वाज शॉट ड्यूरिंग कोविड। बाय द टाइम वी फिनिश्ड इट, सबसे ज़्यादा ऑफ कोर्स सिद्धार्थ और उनकी जो टेक्निकल टीम है सारे बच्चे हैं, आदि एंड द प्रोडक्शन टीम हैड वर्किंग वेरी हार्ड। But we also, because the film entails so much work, हम भी उसी में लगे हुए थे, तो किसी से मुखातिब नहीं हो सके, मिल नहीं सके। But somewhere down the line, we are all the same team: cinema, media, radio, television, social media, and everybody has shown so much kindness to the film. I know everybody is not here, but all of us again are extremely grateful. First to the audience, second to all the people in media, for supporting the film so much, in spite of the fact that there might have been things that could have curtailed the happy release of this film. I just want to say there's so much love from all sides, and we can never show enough gratefulness. Not only us, the whole film industry, what is rightly or wrongly called Bollywood or the Indian film industry. I think we thank you on behalf of all our colleagues and friends in the film industry for bringing life back to cinemas. तो बहुत बहुत आप सबका धन्यवाद। अब हम सवाल जवाब करेंगे। हर बारी 5, 7, 10 लोग ही चिल्लाना, so that we can hear the answers, क्योंकि between you and me सबसे अच्छे आंसर्स सिद्धार्थ ने प्रिपेयर किए हैं आज के लिए। सिद्धार्थ आज शेव करके भी आए हैं, और मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं सबसे बड़ी बात, सिद्धार्थ आज नहाकर भी आए हैं। बेचारे पठान में इतने व्यस्त थे, खाने पीने नहाने धोने का वक्त ही नहीं मिला, तो आज पहली बार प्रेजेंटेबल। हम तो पहचाने नहीं जब अभी भी मिले सुबह उनसे। जॉन जो बहुत ज्यादा बात करता है वो और भी ज्यादा बात करेगा आज। और दीपिका और मेरा तो आपको मालूम ही है, हमें तो सिर्फ बहाना चाहिए प्यार करने का, किस करने का, गले लगने का, तो हम वो करते रहेंगे। आप जो सवाल पूछेंगे मैं इसके हाथ को किस कर दूंगा, वही जवाब होगा। So thank you for being here. I'll hand you over to Anurag because we have to go on with it, and I want to thank Manan and the whole Yashraj team for marketing, for being so kind, and everybody. There are a lot of thanks to be said to lots of people. Anurag, I also love you very much.
थैंक यू शाहरुख। देख रहे हैं आप कितना जोश है, और एक बार फिर से पूरी टीम को, इन तमाम मीडिया वालों को कंग्रेचुलेशंस, बधाई हो कि आप लोगों ने जितना प्यार दिया।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
और ये प्यार ऐसे ही बना रहे शाहरुख खान यशराज के साथ में, दीपिका के साथ में, जॉन के साथ में। ये प्यार, ये मोहब्बत है। बहुत शाहरुख हमेशा एक बात कहते हैं कि मैं सिर्फ फिल्में करता हूँ प्यार पाने के लिए, मैं बच्चों की तरह हूँ, आप मुझे बच्चों की तरह प्यार से रखेंगे, मैं बहुत अच्छा काम करूँगा। और वाकई शाहरुख ने इस बात को सिद्ध कर दिया है। एक बार जोरदार ताली होनी चाहिए। यशराज फिल्म्स की हमेशा एक खास बात रही है कि वो शाहरुख खान को हमेशा बिल्कुल प्यार से रखते हैं। और इतनी बड़ी फिल्म देखने के लिए, और पूरी टीम को मैं बधाई देना चाहूँगा कि हिंदुस्तान में 100 साल में ऐसा रिकॉर्ड नहीं बना जो पठान ने बनाया है, इसलिए बधाई हो, कंग्रेचुलेशंस। तो सबसे पहले शाहरुख आपसे शुरू करता हूँ मैं कि 4 साल बीच में कोविड आया, उतार चढ़ाव आए, फिल्म बन रही थी, फिर रुक रही होगी, कैसा रहा एक्सपीरियंस ओवरऑल इन 4 सालों का? क्योंकि तकलीफ भी हो रही होगी कि यार फिल्म क्यों नहीं जल्दी बन रही है, क्यों रिलीज नहीं हो रही, क्योंकि एक्टर के लिए जरूरी है कि यार जल्दी से पर्दे पर आए फिल्म। तो हाउ वाज द एक्सपीरियंस?
The 4 years that I did not, मतलब 2 साल, because 1.5-2 साल तो हम काम ही कर रहे थे साथ में. I think have some good parts and have some bad parts, like in all our lives because of COVID. And मेरे लिए भी वैसा ही था. तो 1-2 साल मैं काम नहीं किया. I wanted to be with the children. तो अच्छी बात ये थी कि मैं अपने बच्चों को बड़ा होता हुआ फर्स्ट हैंड देख सका. आर्यन को, सुहाना को, अब्राम को, and I could spend time with my family and friends. दूसरी अच्छी बात ये हुई कि मुझे लगा कि मेरी आखिरी फिल्म चली नहीं थी, तो लोग कह रहे थे अब मेरी फिल्में चलेंगी नहीं, तो मैंने ऑल्टरनेट बिजनेस सोचना शुरू कर दिया. मैंने खाना पकाना सीखा कि रेस्टोरेंट खोल लूँगा, उसका नाम रखूँगा रेड चिलीज फूड ईटरी. तो मैंने इटालियन खाना बनाना सीख लिया, तो वो अच्छा हो गया. अब क्या है कि मैं जब शूटिंग पे जाता हूँ तो सिद्धार्थ जो बहुत ही ज़्यादा खाना खाते हैं, मैं फिर बताना चाहूँगा, इनकी सारी बुराइयाँ आज मैं आपको बता दूंगा, मैंने प्रॉमिस किया था इनसे. सो ये इनको खाना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. आफ्टर 10 days ही वॉज नॉट वेरी हैप्पी विद माई वर्क, लेकिन मैंने हर रोज़ इसको पिज़्ज़ा खिलाया सेट के ऊपर, तो उसने कहा चलो ठीक है, बाकी फिल्म मैं इसके साथ कर लूँगा. सो ये अच्छी बातें हुई. बुरी बात में यही है कि घर बैठे रहे. अच्छी बात ये भी हुई कि मुझे जब मालूम पड़ा जॉन फिल्म कर रहे हैं मेरे साथ, मैंने कभी इनके साथ काम नहीं किया. एक हमने एंडोर्समेंट साथ में छोटी सी की थी. John is a very, very old friend of mine. When I came to Mumbai, we got to know each other, but unfortunately we had not worked together. And हमेशा ऐसा कहा जाता है कि एक म्यान में 2 तलवारें नहीं रह सकती. But I requested him, Sid requested him, and was very kind. फिर मैं डर गया कि जॉन के साथ मुझे एक्टिंग करनी है तो बॉडी शॉडी तो होनी चाहिए थोड़ी बहुत. तो मैंने वर्कआउट किया, जो जॉन ने भी मुझे काफ़ी सिखाया. हाँ, जॉन को तो मैं भी बहुत प्यार करता हूँ. 2-4 सीन में मैं ऐसे किस भी करने वाला था, इतना करीब आ गया था ये. और मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि जॉन ने भी ट्राई किया, ऐसे नहीं एक तरफा मोहब्बत है ये, उसने भी ट्राई किया, तो हम दोनों की बहुत मोहब्बत है. बट इट्स नाइस टू बी बैक. मैं जल्दी में कभी नहीं रहता कोई फिल्म ख़त्म करने के लिए, क्योंकि मेरा हमेशा ये जेन्युइन डिज़ायर है. ये सिर्फ एक्टर की तरह नहीं बोल रहा, इंटरव्यू में नहीं बोल रहा. मेरी जेन्युइन डिज़ायर ये रहती है कि मैं लोगों को खुशी बांट सकूँ, और जब मैं उसमें फेल होता हूँ, किसी को इतना दुख नहीं होता जितना मुझे दुख होता है. तो मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि मैं आप लोगों को खुशी बांट सका, और उन लोगों के से बांट सका जो मेरे बहुत ही करीब हैं, आदित्य चोपड़ा और सिद्धार्थ, और जिन्होंने मुझे ये मौका दिया. क्योंकि एज यू विल नोटिस द फिल्म इज़ अ वेरी बिग फिल्म. इट विल बी एन एक्सपेंसिव फिल्म. इट इज़ अ टाइम कंज्यूमिंग फिल्म. बट टू गेट मी एंड गिव मी अ चांस टू कम एट द टाइम व्हेन आई वाज़न्ट वर्किंग and allow me to be a part of this film, I will ever be grateful to Aditya Chopra and Siddharth, and then to Deepika, of course. मैं उसको grateful नहीं कहता, मोहब्बत कम हो जाती. But I just want to say, to be part with friends and enjoy this film. मैं वो 4 साल भूल गया हूँ पिछले 4 दिन के अंदर. These 4 days are the happiest.
एंड थैंक्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू जो लोगों ने पिक्चर देखी है. इसलिए शाहरुख 4 साल की पुरानी बातें भूलकर ये सिर्फ 4 दिन याद कर रहे हैं, जो तकरीबन 500 करोड़ रुपए कमाने जा रही है. जोरदार ताली चाहिए पूरी टीम के लिए. कमान. और थैंक्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू, आप लोग जो चाहे जयपुर में हो, इंदौर में हो, उज्जैन में हो, राजस्थान के किसी कोने में हो, या आंध्रा किसी कोने में हो, बधाई हो उन तमाम लोगों को. और इस समय मेरे साथ में मौजूद हैं, उफ, एक बार जोरदार तालियां दीपिका के लिए.
तुमको पाया है तो ऐसे खोया हूँ. मैं सबके इंट्रोडक्शन में गाना गाऊंगा, ये दीपिका के लिए.
दीपिका कितना अच्छा गाना गाते हैं. कभी सेट पे गाया था इन्होंने इतना?
सेट पे?
हाँ.
नहीं, इस बार तो इन्होंने मुझे खाना खिलाया, जैसे पहले कह रहे थे.
आई नो. हाँ,
पिज्जा खिलाया बहुत बार.
वाओ.
बट Unfortunately, I was on a very, very strict diet, so I couldn't have his pizzas too often. But yeah, he's a good singer.
तो सबसे बेस्ट गाना कौन सा गाते हैं ये आपने कभी फील किया कौन सा गाते हैं कौन सा गाना गाते हैं कभी आपको गा के सुनाया जैसे अभी गा के सुनाया ना वो तो हम लोग हैं इसलिए सुनाया
आंखों में तेरी
अजब सी अदाएं हैं दिल को बना दे जो पतंग सांसें तेरी वो हवाएं हैं
वेरी गुड
वाह 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 वाह
I sing to him, yeah.
दीपिका तो पहली आपकी जिंदगी की सबसे हाईएस्ट बिगेस्ट कह सकता हूँ ब्लॉकबस्टर फिल्म है आपके करियर की कैसा फील कर रही हैं क्या बोलना चाहेंगे
एक्चुअली सबके करियर्स की सबसे बड़ी फिल्म है यार
मैं आ रहा हूँ सब पे आ रहा हूँ धीरे धीरे
ये तो सबके लिए है बट to be honest, I don't think we set out to break records. We set out to make a film with love, with the right intentions. And most importantly, I think we had a good time. This is something Shah Rukh taught me in my very first movie. He said, try and work with people you know you're going to have a good time with. Or I think that makes a huge difference. I think रोज़ जब हम सेट पे जाते हैं और लोगों के साथ काम करने का मौका मिलता है जिनको आप प्यार करते हो और there's no tension, there's no it's such a lovely atmosphere to work in and I think that's what the audience is taking back as well. But I think more importantly the intent with which we made this movie with just pure love and joy and to bring the audience together and to hopefully bring joy into their lives. That was the intention. It was pure and I think that's what we're seeing today.
वाह क्या बात है इस समय जॉन मौजूद हैं जॉन जिम क्या बात है यार तो कैसा लगा आपको जब पहला नरेशन दिया गया होगा इतना हैंडसम
धूम मचा ले come on you people सबके लिए गाना करूंगा
जी हाँ सबके लिए
तेरी बारी भी आने
जॉन माइक्रोफोन लीजिए तो ये जिम का कैरेक्टर यार बहुत कमाल मतलब पहला क्या नरेशन मिला आपको क्या बोला गया था
नहीं पहले तो मैं ये मौका नहीं मिलेगा सो आई वुड लाइक टू से दिस ऑन स्टेज जो आदमी यहाँ पे नहीं है आदित्य चोपड़ा मैं आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक आदित्य चोपड़ा क्योंकि जिस तरीके से वो मुझे पोजीशन करते हैं जैसे धूम में न्यूयॉर्क में और आज पठान में आई थिंक आई गिव ऑल क्रेडिट टू आदित्य चोपड़ा फॉर सिटिंग हियर फर्स्ट उसके बाद मेरे जो डायरेक्टर है यहाँ पे आई थिंक ही इज़ रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर प्रेजेंटिंग मी एंड द एंटायर कास्ट फॉर द वे वी बीन प्रेजेंटेड कंग्रेचुलेशन सिड you're the hero of this film also so Lolly congratulations वो सिड का पेट नेम है लॉली ओके और वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट मुझे शाहरुख के साथ काम करने का मौका मिला like you know we all say Shahrukh today is I don't think he's an actor anymore he's an emotion
so, क्या बात है बिल्कुल सही
it's beautiful इसीलिए I nearly went to kiss him in a lot of the scenes so it was a beautiful experience and दीपिका के साथ तो मैं काम कर चुका हूँ पहले but seeing her growth always makes me happy जो मैंने कहा भी she's a wonderful person तो पहले तो और इसके अलावा सॉरी आई जस्ट वांट टू थैंक अ फ्यू पीपल इफ इट्स ओके हमारे जो एडिटर है आरिफ हमारे राइटर अब्बास हमारे जो स्क्रीन प्ले पर्सन है वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पीपल हमारे टेक्नीशियंस श्रीधर राघवन सचित जो हमारे कैमरामैन है रजत जो हमारे प्रोडक्शन सचित पॉलोस जो हमारे सिनेमाटोग्राफर है और संचित हमारे जो बीजीएम है आई थिंक यू ऑल एंजॉय द बीजीएम इन दिस फिल्म आउटस्टैंडिंग Vishal Shekhar, who has given 2 fantastic songs without me. but fantastic songs and you know when you see those songs and you see Shah Rukh and Deepika, I think you see probably the most beautiful man and the most beautiful woman in that song. They're beautiful. So congratulations. So I think and the entire team, Manan and all of you, Akshay Vidani and everybody at Yash Raj, जिस तरीके से इस फिल्म को माउंट किया है, I think that's very important. A producer is the real hero of a film. I think he's on top there, and I think Aditya Chopra deserves all the praise. And when you see someone like Shah Rukh after 4 years and coming in and looking so good, and probably I'd say मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं action hero हूँ, but I think Shah Rukh is today the #1 action hero in the country. Yeah. So it's just a nice gathering here. मुझे पता नहीं ये हमारी लाइफ का, I think it's going to be my biggest hit for a long time. I don't know, but I just wanted to thank everybody who's important. ये मेरे लिए बहुत ज़रूरी था. So thank you everyone, and thank you to the media and the fans who have supported this film all the way through. So a very big thank you to everyone in the media. You all have been superb. And all Shah Rukh Khan fans, all Deepika Padukone fans, and some of my fans, I love you, all of you, I love you all. You have been fantastic. So I think I've covered most of.
वेरी गुड. प्रोड्यूसर नहीं है मतलब प्रोड्यूसर काम पूरा कर दिया आपने.
नहीं, ये बहुत जरूरी था मेरे लिए, क्योंकि आदित्य चोपड़ा इज अ लिटिल लाइक, आई बिलीव लाइक मी, बिकॉज आई लाइक बीइंग प्राइवेट, और वो बहुत ही प्राइवेट आदमी है. आई थिंक शाहरुख नोज हिम द बेस्ट. ही इज वेरी स्केयर्ड ऑफ, ही डजंट कम आउट इन द मीडिया. तो उनको थैंक यू कहना बहुत जरूरी था. ही इज रियली वेरी फैंटास्टिक.
क्या बात है, मतलब पूरी टीम को लाना, एक साथ बनाना, और ये सब काम किया है सिद्धार्थ आनंद. एक बार जोरदार ताली चाहिए सिद्धार्थ के लिए. कम ऑन गाइस.
I like being private, और वो बहुत ही प्राइवेट आदमी है. आई थिंक शाहरुख नोज हिम द बेस्ट. ही इज वेरी स्केयर्ड ऑफ, ही डजंट कम आउट इन द मीडिया. तो उनको थैंक यू कहना बहुत जरूरी था. ही इज रियली वेरी फैंटास्टिक.
क्या बात है, मतलब पूरी टीम को लाना, एक साथ बनाना, और ये सब काम किया है सिद्धार्थ आनंद. एक बार जोरदार ताली चाहिए सिद्धार्थ के लिए. कम ऑन गाइस.
सलाम नमस्ते, सलाम नमस्ते.
क्या बात. तो हर क्वेश्चन के पहले गाना गाएंगे शाहरुख, और आप अपने गाने सोच लीजिए कौन कौन से नहीं गवाने हैं. पीछे से आप
वो मैं करूंगा.
करेंगे ना?
करेंगे इसके बाद.
ओके. तो वॉर एक बड़ी फिल्म यार, मतलब मानना पड़ेगा. उसके बाद इतनी बड़ी फिल्म पठान, कैसा था रिएक्शन जब धीरे धीरे मैसेजेस आने लगे, लोगों के रिएक्शन आने लगे? तो क्या फर्स्ट रिएक्शन क्या था आपका?
एक्चुअली ये पहली बार, मैं 20 सालों से फिल्में बना रहा हूँ, एंड आई बीन सेइंग इट, ये पहली बार था मेरे करियर में जब मैं एक्चुअली नर्वस था. आई थिंक गौरी हैड आस्क्ड मी द क्वेश्चन 2-3 days बिफोर द रिलीज, दैट आपको नींद आती है रिलीज से पहले? तो बोला मुझे बहुत अच्छी आती है.
अच्छा.
और मैं आराम से उठता हूँ, और हर पिक्चर में गया हूँ एक सिंगल स्क्रीन में देखने के लिए, गेटी 12 बजे के शो पे, और मैं हमेशा 11:45 बजे उठा हूँ, हमेशा, और मैं भाग के गया हूँ गेटी. इस टाइम हम लोग साथ में थे, आई थिंक 3 बजे तक, 3-4 बजे तक, और मैं सोया ही नहीं. और क्योंकि उसका एक रीज़न और भी है, क्योंकि हमारे जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हेड हैं रोहन, उन्होंने 6 बजे का शो डाल दिया था. तो पहली बार हमारी एक फिल्म 6 बजे रिलीज हो रही थी सुबह. तो ऑब्वियसली 6 बजे से हमारी धक धक शुरू हो गई थी. एंड स्ट्रेंजली मैं इतना नर्वस था, एंड अब पता चला क्यों, क्योंकि फिल्म इतनी बड़ी हिट होने वाली थी. तो एक अंदर फीलिंग, एक होप, एक प्रेयर थी, एंड वो पूरी हो गई. एंड सो मैं बिल्कुल नहीं सोया हूँ, एंड आई थिंक मैं हर रिलीज से पहले अब नहीं सोऊंगा.
पर उसके लिए वादा करना पड़ेगा, अगर रात को जगना चाहते तो सिर्फ शाहरुख खान ही है, ना सोता है ना सोने देता है.
बस गाने भी गाते हैं बहुत.
हाँ, गाने भी गाते
हैं.
तो आप वादा कीजिए कि हर फिल्म आप में शाहरुख होंगे, ऐसा कुछ.
ये इनको बोलो वादा करने को.
मुझे इसने ना सुबह 6:30 बजे फोन किया. मैंने किया एक्चुअली 6:30.
Okay.
मैं भी उठ गया. तो इन्होंने पहली बात ये नहीं बोली कि क्यों जाग रहे हो, परेशान हो. इसने कहा, अबे तू शूटिंग पे तो कभी नहीं आया 7 बजे. नेक्स्ट फिल्म के लिए मैं तुझे अब 7 बजे बुलाऊंगा मैं. तो मैं बहुत डर गया, और मैं अब बिल्कुल उठता भी हूँ, हर रोज अभी भी उठ जाता हूँ, बिकॉज दिस इज फॉर जॉन, माई सेल्फ, दीपिका, सिद्धार्थ, आदि, एवरीबडी इन्वॉल्व इन द फिल्म इंडस्ट्री ऑनेस्टली. और मैं सबके बिहाफ पे कहूंगा कि दिस इज एन एक्सपीरियंस विच इज स्टिल नॉट संक इन. अभी तक हमको ये एहसास भी नहीं हुआ है कि ये फिल्म जो है कितना लोग इसको प्रेम दे रहे हैं. एंड दैट्स वाई इस वाले इंटरव्यू में, जो हमारा पहला इंटरव्यू है, हम कुछ ज्यादा ही शुक्रिया अदा करेंगे भगवान का, गॉड का, अल्लाह का. वी विल बी थैंकिंग ऑल द पीपल इन्वॉल्व विद दिस फिल्म, all the media, and also I would like to say the powers that be, because there were times when we had to make calls to people and say कि please हमारी film को प्रेम से release करवा दें, and they all took charge of it, and we were so happy that the film was released with so much. मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ी शुक्रिया अदा की बात ये होती है कि लोग फिल्म प्रेम से देख सकें.
A former Ministry External Affairs Secretary, Mr. Kaju, that the government should have just ignored this. This is a G20 year. You expect these kind of attacks. You don't have to swat a fly every time a fly comes past you. But you believe, Abhijit, that the government is doing this because it suits them politically. And every time, as I outlined in 2015 and 2020, numerous instances where such potentially polarizing issues came up, and it ultimately helped the BJP and helped Mr. Modi electorally. So you believe that this is being actively kept because the government also somewhere politically benefits. The only thing that's sort of jarring for me is this is a G20 year. This is the year when India is supposed to, it's like a coming out party. India showing confidence, India showing power, it's projecting power. Doesn't this entire episode betray nervousness?
This was like a full-toss Zaka bolt to the BJP and the Modi government. Maybe unintentionally by the BBC, I think we are giving too much, reading too much into the fact that BBC may be targeting Modi. They may actually being, after Rishi Sunak in a way, because he is Hindu. There's been a fair bit of unease in the UK, but that's another matter. The thing is that this actually obviously helps the BJP every time Gujarat riots comes up, because we have seen that in the 12 years after the riots, UPA ruled. They tried, they went relentlessly after Mr. Modi. They failed to indict him. It was a war fought through innuendo, conspiracy theories, everything but facts, which proves that Mr. Modi is guilty. The Supreme Court has given its verdict. There is no way that they can win. And also, what happened, the whole, the case after 2002, it constantly told the mass Hindu psyche that one man is being targeted relentlessly because, because he is, because there is Muslim appeasement in play. So if every time this comes up, why is the Congress and other opposition not hitting the streets? Why are they fighting the proxy war through students and campuses? That is because they dare not. They know that it is going to further damage them, which is why they are fighting this through campuses, hoping that at least the student community can be sort of there can be some kind of stir brought among the student community. It's not going to happen. It gives BJP certainly an electoral advantage. A documentary by BBC could have just been in the headline for half a day and disappeared.
Dr. Paranjpe, let me start with you first, because there seems to be some kind of a recurring theme or a pattern here where it seems to be the same set of campuses: JNU, Jamia, Presidency Calcutta, Hyderabad Central University, whether it was the anti-CAA protests or now this BBC documentary. And why it's curious is because while there's so much of storm around this documentary inside these campuses, outside, out on the streets, people either don't know or don't really particularly care.
Absolutely. In fact, I want to use your channel to appeal to students as well as caution them, especially the innocent ones, the sincere students in these universities, not really to be seduced by this propaganda, because the hardcore cadres of certain political outfits are organizing these protests, and an innocent student is going to get misled. This is certainly not a question of free speech. I've written a whole book on what happened in JNU. So there is a very big, I don't want to use the word conspiracy, but there is an attempt to create yet another student movement against the Modi Sarkar, against BJP, and they're the same actors. In fact, I might tell you that at the beginning of this year, I got a telephone call from somebody, I can't mention my source here, but from abroad, and they said, you know, Makran, just watch as the year progresses. One after one after one, there's going to be bombshells. Things are going to be put out there to discredit this government and discredit India as well. So if I were an investigative journalist, which I'm not, I'm an academic, I'm an intellectual, I would like to delve into this whole chain of events, this whole thread, you know, what is it that is going around and who's funding it, who's behind it. And again, I must say that I want to tell my student friends that what is screened and not screened in a university campus depends on the university administration. The JNU administration put out an advisory. At your own peril, you will defy the administration because they can take action against you. So it's not worth it. In fact, I don't tell any student not to see anything. If you want to see the film, see it in your own room. It's not banned as far as I know. If you want to see it on your phone or whatever laptop, go and see it. Make up your own mind. But to join this kind of insidious seeming protest, it's not even a protest, is going to jeopardize their future, I believe, and their career. And they should not be, I think, seduced by the appeal of such propaganda in the first place.
So Sanjay Jha, you know, we've seen this in 2015 when the JNU protests happened. We've seen this again in 2020 when the anti-CAA protests essentially started from these campuses and then spread to Shaheen Bagh. Every time this has happened, it has helped Mr. Modi and rally his base. It has riled up his base. A lot of his supporters feel that this is some kind of vested propaganda. This is some kind of a conspiracy. There are people out there who are trying to get him, and it has helped him electorally.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra culminated today in Srinagar. Rahul Gandhi, who began his ambitious journey on the 7th of September, has covered over 3,000 kilometers in 12 states and 2 union territories until today. From Kanyakumari to Kashmir, the Grand Old Party tried to unite a country they claim is divided with hate. Now, Rahul Gandhi, in the span of the last 145 days, has often spoken of his Mohabbat ki dukaan. Today was no different. At the grand finale of this particular rally, Rahul Gandhi once again hit out at the BJP and the RSS for trying to sow the seeds of division in the country. He said, I understand the pain of violence, but those that are ruling the country today and that from the RSS don't get it. Before we get into what this Bharat Jodo Yatra has achieved or what it hasn't, listen in to what Rahul Gandhi said today.
सिक्योरिटी वालों ने कहा आप ही जो 4 दिन हैं कश्मीर में आपको गाड़ी से जाना चाहिए। 3-4 दिन पहले एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने कहा कि देखिए शायद डराने के लिए कि देखिए अगर आप पैदल चलेंगे तो आपके ऊपर ग्रेनेड फेंका जाएगा। मैंने सोचा कि ऐसे करते हैं, मैं अपने घर वापस जा रहा हूं, 4 दिन पैदल चलूंगा, अपने घर के जो लोग हैं उनके बीच में चलूंगा। और मैंने सोचा कि जो मुझसे नफरत करते हैं उनको क्यों ना मैं एक मौका दूं कि मेरी सफेद शर्ट का रंग बदल दें, लाल कर दें।
Now, Rahul Gandhi and this Bharat Jodo Yatra has caught the imagination of the country, whether it is for the kind of clothes he wore or the people who joined him during this Padyatra. Now, the Congress would like to say that this endeavour was to unite the country, as the name suggests. But experts believe that one of its major tasks was to galvanize the rank and file of the Congress, as Congress Jodo jibe was taken by the BJP ever so often. They also thought that this was to help improve Rahul Gandhi's image, an image makeover, so to say, for someone who was seen as a reluctant politician. Keep in mind, the general elections are just a year away, and the Congress's path remains strewn with several challenges. Now, the Congress may say this Yatra was not political, but it definitely hopes the optics translate into votes, because 2023 would be a precursor to the next year's general elections. Remember, 9 states go to elections this year, including 2 where the Congress is the incumbent party. Now, to say the very least, retaining power in those 2 states is paramount to the Congress to maintain its position as the principal opposition party. But can the Congress manage to keep that tag? Or has the grand old party lost its tag as the first among equals within the opposition? Now, let's take a look at some statistics to put that in perspective for you. Here's where it stands as far as the big number game is concerned and the Congress party's track record as far as its own party and within the opposition is concerned. Only 9% strike rate in the 2019 elections. That was one of the biggest issues as far as electoral politics for the Congress is concerned. 19% vote share in 2019 general elections. That's all. That's all the Congress party could manage. They won only 8% seats in direct contest with the BJP. That means in seats where it was a direct contest, a bipolar contest between the BJP and the Congress, only 8% is where the Congress could actually manage to retain that seat or win that seat. 93 seats where the Congress has lost in consecutive 4 elections, 93 seats across the country. No Congress Rajya Sabha member of parliament in 17 states. The recently concluded Gujarat elections saw the Congress party's worst ever performance as far as Gujarat was concerned. Now, the Congress and its backers may say that today was an aberration. Perhaps the inclement weather was to blame. But can they deny that many within this so-called united front harbour the ambitions of a role bigger than the Congress is willing to part with? For example, Mamata Banerjee, the West Bengal Chief Minister and the Chief of the TMC. Now, she herself and her party has often pitched Mamata Banerjee as the prime ministerial candidate. She claims a vote for Congress is a vote for BJP. That's the pitch the TMC has been making. Another one is Arvind Kejriwal. Now, remember, the Aam Aadmi Party was not invited for this grand show of opportunity, grand show of unity as far as the finale of the Bharat Jodo today was concerned. Arvind Kejriwal too, now a national party, the Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal as well, seeing himself as a bigger role as far as politics is concerned and aggressive against the Congress as well, not just the BJP. Naveen Patnaik of the BJD also not invited today. He calls his relationship with the Prime Minister amiable. There have been ties between the BJP and the BJD oscillating from foes to friends, but that relationship has remained so-called friends, at least in the recent past. Next up is K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who recently went national with the BRS party. We saw a show of strength, a show of unity of the opposition at his national foray as well. There were several chief ministers that were present there, and compare that to what we saw today in Srinagar, very few in attendance. Now, Chandrasekhar Rao as well wise a national role. He wants a non-BJP, non-Congress third front, and he positions himself as the man who can helm that alternative front. So is this opposition unity really something that can take shape? So the big question that we ask here on Plain Speak tonight is that Rahul seems to be on an opposition Jodo mission. But can Congress really be the fulcrum for it?
जो विचारधारा इस देश की नींव को तोड़ने की कोशिश कर रही है, उसके खिलाफ हम खड़े हों, मिलकर खड़े हों, नफरत से नहीं, क्योंकि वो हमारा तरीका नहीं है, मोहब्बत से खड़े हों।
Is it the big Bharat Jodo irony? They want to unite the country, but is the opposition united at all? Joining me on this broadcast, spokesperson of the BJP, Shaina NC, spokesperson of the Congress Party, Sujata Paul, also with me. TMC spokesperson Manojit Mandal and consulting editor of First Post, Arun Anand, join us on this broadcast. But I'd like to begin by asking Sujata Paul of the Congress Party, how do you read the fact that 23 parties, like-minded parties, were invited by the Congress Party today for the grand finale in Srinagar? Only 4 turned up. Sujata Paul?
Yes, I couldn't get your question.
Yes, Ms. Paul, I was asking, how does the Congress Party read the fact that 23 like-minded parties were invited for the grand finale today, but only 4 turned up?
The point is, what is the Bharat Jodo Yatra about? The Bharat Jodo Yatra seeks to unite people, society, and remove the fear that has been put into them by the BJP RSS. And that is what the purpose is. You know, I was listening to this entire introduction that you gave, and it was about a strike rate of the Congress Party. It was almost as if talking about elections. No, this was not about elections. Of course, we are a political party and we will talk about elections. But when we go out to unite people, it is because we represent people. And we are the principal opposition party. We are here to ensure that people rid themselves of the fear, of the hate, the divisive politics that has been spread by the Bharatiya Janata Party. As far as our leader Rahul Gandhi is concerned, he has walked the talk. I remember I was on a program with one of your anchors on your channel when the BJP spokesperson had said that, after 4-5 days, the yatra will be left by Rahul Gandhi ji. No. The yatra was completed and the Bharatiya Janata Party is rattled because the Bharatiya Janata Party has no answers for anything. The Bharatiya Janata Party has no answers for the young who are out on the streets today. They have no answers for what is happening in Joshimath. They have no answers for anybody asking them questions because they want everybody to keep quiet because this is a government of crony capitalists. But keep the Bharat Jodo Yatra aside from politics, even though we are a political party. We stand for the country and we will fight this ideology. This ideology of hate and divisiveness is being understood by people and people are gathering courage to speak up against it.
Sure.
You know, nothing happens fast. Everything happens gradually and that is what the BJP has never understood. That's why today I'm sitting in Nagaland and I'm seeing the kind of development that has happened under the BJP alliance rule. There are no roads and that's why it's taken me so much time to reach you. That's why the connectivity is going up again and again. So against that, we might be moving slowly, but we will unite the country, rid themselves of the fear, and bring back India to its glory.
Sure, Ms. Paul, before I get in the other panelists, I just want to ask you this. You say the motive of Bharat Jodo was not political at all, but you say that this has been a great success. And like I mentioned in my introduction as well, it has caught the imagination of the country. It has been making headlines for one reason or the other. But it has caught the imagination of the country. Are you saying that you do not expect the success of this yatra or the popularity of the yatra and Rahul Gandhi to translate into votes?
Absolutely not. That is exactly what I'm saying, that we are a party, we are a political party and our business is politics. But when you talk about the country, to get the people together, because giving governance comes later. First, it is democracy which should be established. First, people should be made aware, the fear factor should go. They should rid themselves of the hate that is being pumped into the public by the BJP because we are a diverse nation and that is what we have done and definitely this will translate into votes as well. But Bharat Jodo Yatra seeks to unite the people of this country against the hate politics of BJP.
Sure. Shaina NC, the Congress says that this was not political. Well, of course, if the dividends are political that translate into votes, great. It's a bonus. But that wasn't what the Congress was out to do. They say they speak for the country, as Sujata Paul was also saying, that they speak for the people of this country. Now, many in this country, like me, would like to believe that the parliament of our country is the place where the Aam Aadmi of this country would expect their representatives to speak for them. Now, the budget session begins tomorrow. Today, we had an all-party meeting that was held by the government, which is protocol, happens ahead of every single session. But we didn't have the Congress representation there.
is it a Congress Todo Yatra or a Bharat Jodo Yatra? I mean, you look at the internal politics, even of the Congress party, they send out invitations to 23 political parties and their credibility is such that not even 4 turn up. Now, if you want to agitate, you want to take to the streets, you want to do a yatra, absolutely, you're a political party, nobody's questioning that. But as a political activist, I want to question, in Gujarat, what did you see? After 27 years, the Bharatiya Janata Party's vote share has gone up by 4%, which is unprecedented. 32 years to be ruling in a state in any part of the country is unheard of. It's unheard of world over. This is the kind of popularity of Prime Minister Modi. Sadly, we don't need a certificate from the Congress party, which is diminished to a regional party. You have regional parties which are in better position today than the Congress. So what are they talking about? Let them soul search, let them introspect, let them think they are reaching out to the youth. The youth has been attracted to Prime Minister Modi, and that's why you see victory after victory. And do not forget, the states, the 9 states that go to polls will be a random testing ground for political parties that believe that they are able to establish a vote bank, and they have done nothing but decrease their vote share. The Bharatiya Janata Party has consistently under Prime Minister Modi been able to show people that we're here to give you development, we're here to give you sustainability. And as far as the Northeast is concerned, the first time the infrastructure of the Northeast also and the Northeast have voted as an integral